Okay, so this is a little video that describes the process that I'd like people to use through grading. The graders have been shared a folder on Box that has all the different homework assignment folders. It looks a little bit different for me since I'm the creator, but at any rate, the example I want to say we have a homework. It'll be homework XX in this case. Um, it's just an example. So if we go in there, there'll be multiple zip files, and those zip files, you'll be assigned a grader number. So you might be grader 1 or grader 2 or grader 3. And each one of these for the homework is the homework that you'll be responsible for grading. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and download this file. And I think a good practice for this is to put it on a jump drive where you keep all your grading stuff. So I created a directory on that jump drive called Homework XX, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. Say I'm grader 1. Alrighty. So let me just get these to be the right size. So in there now I have this ungraded. So I'm going to extract all of them. I just right-clicked on that file. And I'm going to extract them all into that same directory. I don't want to go into a lower directory. Extract. All right, so it unpacks all those files into that folder. And these are all PDFs that can be read. Now, reading a PDF isn't rocket science. We all sort of maybe know how to do this and have done it. But I've put together some things that I think are going to make it quite easy to do this, and I'm just going to go through them now. First of all, I'd like you to use the Adobe Reader called Adobe Reader DC. So if you go to Adobe Downloads, there's this Adobe Reader DC, and that's the reader that's going to make it, I think, most easy for you. Again, I'm not requiring you to use this reader, but I'm suggesting that it's going to make it easier for you. So if you download that, install it like I have, now if I go ahead and I double click on one of these files, it's gonna go ahead and load it. But more about that in a minute. There's another file, and you can make the default reader or not. That's up to you. Another thing is, I'm going to go up, close this guy. If I go back up to here, you'll see there's a folder or a file called openpdffiles.dat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to download that. I'm going to download the file, and I'm going to put it in the same folder. Okay? And what that does is, I'm just showing it to you right here, what that does is it will open each PDF file in the directory in turn, so that you don't have to do a lot of clicking. All right, so let's go ahead and see how that works. So first thing we want to do after we get the Adobe Reader loaded is we open it up and we go into Edit Preferences. Okay, and there's two things that I'd like you to change. The first one is under General. Check Use Single Key Accelerators to access tools. And what that'll allow you to do is not have to do a lot of right-clicking in the documents, and I'll show you this in a second. And the other is under Security Enhanced. I want you to uncheck Enable Protected Mode at Startup. What that will do is it will allow you to press the Save button without it asking you to save and where you want to save it. So you can't see the OK button down here, but if this is the first time you're doing this, you're going to have to say OK. Then you're going to have to quit Adobe and restart it. All right. This file, this openpdffiles.bat, is a Windows batch file. If you're on a Mac, I'm sorry, you'll have to do something different. But if I open this in an editor, all that it does is it uses this for files command, which is a Windows command, to open all the PDF files. And as it opens them, it searches for all the PDF, and then it executes this command, which is to run this Acrobat Reader DC. Now, this is the default location for Acrobat Reader. If you installed it somewhere else, you need to change that string. Okay? But now what you'll see happens here is if I double click on this file, what it does is it goes through and it will work through, and as I kill these, it'll just open the next one. So there's no clicking that needs to take place. Now, for commenting and grading, what I'd like you to use is I've set up a rubric, and that rubric exists on a web page that I've generated. If you go to www.me.rochester.edu, courses, ME226, and ME226 rubric, you'll see there's a web page, and it has all of the things that are things that you take points off for the homework. So how this works is you make this a little bit smaller, you move it to the side, okay? What you can do now, because you have accelerators turned on, is you press X, and then you click, and it'll insert a text box. Okay, so that's what the accelerator does. If I hit Escape and hit Enter, you'll see I can select that. So how would this work? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this guy down, or just make it a little smaller. So maybe they didn't put their name in properly. You click on an unacceptable name or date. You go over here, you push X, and then you do a Control V, and it'll paste it. Okay? You know, and there's only going to ever be one problem. Okay? So if the answer's not boxed, for example, unacceptable answer format, you click in here, hit X, paste. Okay? That's all you have to do. You don't have to add up any scores or anything. Now what you do is you just save this. And because you've told it not to use protected mode, it will save right back onto the same file. If you look at the comments, you can get to the comments. Okay, so these can be changed or modified. Now when I go to the next file, it will just go ahead and open that next one. It actually was off the screen there. So actually, this is an example of a file that I would call this unacceptable. I can't really read this very well. The file is it's this 476 file. 476. It's quite large. It's over 5 megabytes. These files should be, you can see that they can be very small and be very readable. What this person's done is scanned it as a photograph. So that would be unacceptable. But let's go back to the rubric. So what I might do is I might say unacceptable submission, right? And if I want to, I can put that down. I can paste it into one of these boxes, and I can say file too large. Okay, and then I can select all that. I can Control C to cut. Go back here, X, then paste. And you also see it's just way too large. I can't read it. All right, so that gives you an example of how to use these boxes. All right, so you can, if you find yourself entering a lot of comments, you can just enter them here. Now, what's important to me is this number. Do not change this number. Don't add any kind of information around that number. That's the key that I use to assign the grade. So after they've all been graded, and I'll just whip through here. If you want to kill the grading, this is the batch file window. You just kill that, and it'll kill the grading. I'll kill that and kill that. So I kind of left halfway through, but that's okay. Then I take all the ones that have been graded, and I send them to a new zip file, and maybe I got to get rid of the one that I downloaded. Send to new zip file. Okay, and I'll call it homework XX graded, and I was 1. Okay, and that's the file that I'm going to upload back to, get this here, and this is the file that I will upload back. Oh, I'm going to go into this directory, files, I'm going to upload that back. So now in that same directory, my original ungraded is there and my graded one is there. I have a paper trail. You have a paper trail because it's on a jump drive where you can always access it and go back and understand what you did. Again, I have an expectation on these that all of these assignments should be absolutely perfect. If they're not perfect, then there should be points taken off. One of the things that I think is problematic with grading is that we let a lot of stuff slide. So what I've done for this particular course is I've changed it so that a large portion of the grade is, they can be sloppy or they can work the problem different ways, and that's the part that they just submit online. But this part, I want them to get practice where they create a proper free body diagram. Their writing is neat. They box the answers. They use units properly. Everything is understandable. Everything is described. And in that way, when they take the exams, they will follow this format, and it will be, just basically it'll be a better learning experience for the students as well as the people that have to grade. So anyway, that's the process. Let me know if there are questions.